Good evening, everyone. Welcome to. Actually, I shouldn't do this out of this sheet. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the EXFL Tier 1 Season 13 Belgian Grand Prix 22-lap circuit. 22 lap race around a 70-kilometer circuit, with the preferred race strategy being one of these two you see on your screen here. On pole, we've got James, who... It's just James, isn't it? He does his own thing, really. Jaden second, Frankie third, Stelios in fourth. Relatively compact grid today, as the majority of the drivers take on the medium tyre, with Jaden being the exception on the hards. Title standings as of now, I believe. Yeah, so James 232, Danny 151, 81 point gap between the two drivers, as we've got a change in strategy. Frankie deciding to go on the softs, early pit stop risk. As in the constructors standings, Williams 242 points, as I assume 10 points came from Sam. Yep, that's correct. So even without Sam, James will be leading the championship all by himself, as well, we're 11 seconds away from the formation lap, as I am your commentator for today. So welcome to the formation lap of the commentator taking part in the formation lap, even though I'm not even last. Yeah, it's just...
Conditions look stable at the moment, no rain currently expected.
Yeah, so, well, as you see me struggle to get a car out of first gear, all the rest of the drivers have lined up on the grid, so I'm just going to have to quickly do a cheeky disqualification in order for the race to start, without me being the, slow down. Right, let's see, does this still work? Nope, that hits me straight into a... Okay, well that was smart. And, well, yep, race star, I guess, as 5 red lights, and it's lights out and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix, as I get an absolutely woeful start. As, looking at the mini-map down there, James, I think, will keep the lead into turn. Oh, and I've actually had an impact. Oh dear. I hope that doesn't cause any problems. As well, look up over Region Rally on there. James and Jaden have certainly made a gap big enough from DRS already, as I am going to trail the pack and retire in the pits. As ahead we got Cub making a move on Logan, I think. I don't know, I can't see, I'm not perfect. As we've got a bit of moves from the Ferrari of Voizo. As Jaden has taken the lead, I presume the rundown on the Camel Straight definitely helped with that overspeed. As as Cub has spun, and I will not pass him, because I'm not in any way, shape or form in this race. As yeah, let's just try and not crash. But yeah, somehow still packed. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Who knew driving half speed was gonna nearly get me murdered? As Jane has made a bit of a gap to James, obviously from the rest of the field. I believe in P3 that is red. As honestly, I'll be able to give a more clear picture in about 30 seconds time.
Understood. Stopping this lap.
As Jones has the fastest lap, as he led the entire first lap. As I will now there we go, as we are now officially in the pit lane, so I can retire from the session, no harm caused, and we can officially commentate. Here we are, let's get all the proper stuff. As well, we already got an overtake here for the lead. James spamming the battery down into the com chicane, and he takes the lead back from pole position as scraps further back. Obviously, DRS passing towards the end of the Camel Straight will be happening a lot, as I assume that's my AI getting out of the way, as Logan gets past Adam. Back to a proper name after a few outrageous ones for the past few weeks, as well, I don't think there'll be any moves happening for the entirety of the middle sector yet, as from 12, well, there was always going to be 11 minimum of, I don't know how to word it, battery checks, some people missing, some notable ones being last week's podium sitter, Chris, who, God knows why he's missing, honestly. Couldn't even tell you. P4 and long-time race leader Sam doesn't make the cut this week. So, you know, 2 people from the top 5 last week missing. As a bit wide from Frankie, who is on the soft tyre, one of 2 alternating strategies, or 3 even, as the only McLaren of Jaden also on the soft compound tyre, burning literally no battery, as Red will try and go along as we go and overtake down into the Lacombe chicane. The Red Bull of Danny overtaking, sending the car, slamming the door on Frankie. So from starting P3, the Aston Martin is down in 6th, as highest gainers will be the Mercedes and the Red Bull, who both gain 2 positions. As let's keep on that for now. Okay. Story at the top is James has pulled away. Well, he's barely Jaden's barely hanging on to DRS, constantly popping in and out of that 1 second margin. As I think for the start-finish straight, the McLaren will not have DRS and will be at threat from the Mercedes behind, as I don't think there was any like overtakes made into the bus stop chicane. Bit of a lock-up from Red Fire Tiger there on the hard compound tyre, one of, well, the only one on the hards as of right now. So he will aim to go long, so keeping in touch with second place here might help him with that, as Jane's burning nothing, and here comes the Mercedes. It's the tale of 2026 all over again, as Euro gets past Frankie. That's down to 7th for the Aston Martin, as Red Fire Tiger on the hard compound tyre makes use and overtakes Jaden, making up his 3rd position and dropping the McLaren down into 3rd place. Obviously you can see the reflection of the green helmet there. As don't know what I'm doing. But something must be going wrong for Jaden here, as he has dropped 1.6 seconds in the span of a lap to the Mercedes, as Red has caught the DRS of the Williams, as at an early pit stop off the Son compound tyre, as Frankie follows him in, as we got 2 side-by-side battles here between Logan, as Frankie retires. We've got side by side here between the Ferrari and the Alpine. Voizo very lackluster, as Cub retires from the race. So there was 11, there was 12, and now there's 9. As we might have a good fight here up the counter straight. Here we go. Freeway fight here for 6th place. 1 Ferrari, 1 Alpine, as the Alpine goes soaring by. Will Adam be able to overtake into the Lecom chicane here? He'll stay put, and Logan overtakes up into P6 from P9. As Jaden early pit stop onto the hards. Will this be a potential 1 stop, or will there be a 2 stop in play here? As James, the gap's down to half a second between him and the Mercedes. As Voizo, that was going to happen eventually. Voizo in the gravel. As is there and he's retired on track. Is there anything going to happen there? I don't think there was even wing damage, but oh well. There's now 8. And there will probably be a few more depending on how this race goes. You can see in the background there, very close between the 2 Mercedes-powered cars, as Red, more battery, they are burning it down into the Rouge and Radion complex. Could we see an overtake and a 3rd race leader tonight? We had a McLaren, we had a Williams. Could we now see a Mercedes add to that list? Red Fire Tiger on those hard tyres, pulls to the left, and before the corner settles the debate, and it's Mercedes in the lead from Williams, as Danny makes up a position over the Sauber. The the runner-up in the championship as of now. He's got an 81-point deficit to overturn in, well, this is the 12th round out of 20, so 8 rounds to overturn an 81-point deficit. This included, he's currently dropping 10. No, not even. He's dropping 3. So the gap will go up to 84 as I think those tyres might be dead for. As yeah, there's the second gap, and red, those hard compound tyres clearly being put to good use, as we might see a few early pit stops from the drivers today, starting around this lap. Or will James stick out another lap and try and chase with DRS? That's the story for now. Will anyone bite the bullet and go into the pits for an early pit stop? I think it'd be foolish, as Red Fire Tiger sets the fastest lap of the race, as Logan is in. Nearly clips the oh, he hits the outside barrier. Don't think there was any damage done there. Brakes relatively early, as the King of P7. First pit stop off the mediums, so it'll be over half the race on the hard compound tyre. Knowing this F1 game, it'll probably be possible. But the question is, will he be able to climb up past any of the drivers ahead? As Stelios retakes P3. The Kick Sauber having an excellent race here. Started P4 and is now up to P3, fighting with the Red Bull. So he's currently harming any sort of title challenge for Danny here. Don't think he finished last week, did Stelios? Stelios? No, he finished. He retired from the race, so this will be a very nice way of combating that result from last week. Obviously around the Hungaro ring, where JJ won after a extremely gambless, well, is that even a word? I don't care. Gambless try strategy. 21 laps on the hard compound tyre, where they were on the verge of bursting. As we might have an overtake here into the bus stop chicane. We might even have a freeway fight heading into the next few corners. No dive bomb here, but there is a puff of smoke as Stelios is in. So it'll be the two Red Bull cars, P3, P4. One's obviously Red Bull, the other the Racing Bull category, as Stelios gets a 10-second penalty. Call that commentator's curse, as Adam brakes relatively early to ensure he doesn't have the same fate as the driver ahead of him. As I think we'll see a lot of the front runners in the pit lane in the next few laps. Stelios they're both onto a set of hards, so I think, yeah, only 3 cars left on the hard medium compound tyres. Logan overtakes a leaving Adam. Let's go back onto this graphic. Well, now the gaps have separated. Yeah, well, now playing the waiting game, we might as well check warnings. Red, none. James 1 warning on the opening lap. Uri 2, Jaden 1. Stelios, apart from the 10-second penalty, he's got 1 warning. Logan's got 1 warning, and Adam is clean. As pretty spread out the field. Jaden the leader on the hards. How much of a dent could he have done in the challenge of the Williams from his early pit stop? I mean, only time will tell, I guess. Relatively short pit lane here, where you come out exactly onto the second straight before Eau Rouge and Radion. As no one from the front 4 pits yet, so they're taking these tyres to just under the halfway mark. And I'd be interested to see what the tyre state is. I think Red is in a relatively positive position here. He is still taking a little inch of lap time out of James every single lap. As everyone is now more than a second behind, so no one will have access to the now dead drag reduction system. As, yeah, so Might as well check like relative lap time for now. So Red's last lap was a 46.769, whilst Jaden's was a 146.1. So around 8/10 a lap faster. However, we still have to remember that, you know, these are very fresh tyres, and these are tyres being used from the start of the race, so I guess that's a factor here. As the gap in just over a sector has gone up by 1.1 seconds, so those mediums must be really screaming for help. And this is the lap where I think we will see more drivers into the pit lane. I presume second, third and fourth will be meeting their engineers. James is in. Will Danny follow suit? He will. And Dior, I assume, follows suit as well. So second, third and fourth to the pit lane, which now means that everyone will be on the hard compound tyre, and Jaden, if all goes well, he will leapfrog all the way up to second place. So, damage limitation now. The gap to P1 is now 19 seconds. However, he is yet to make a pit stop, and James comes out 1 second behind. So you might see some fights here. There's no changes done here, there, and everywhere. So you know, will these three pitters will be able to warm their tyres up in order to launch a challenge? Jaden once again burning absolutely nothing to try and potentially close that 19-second gap. As comparing sector times, he's did a 31.5, Red 31.6, so a tenth quicker in the first sector. However, you know, spreading that out to the whole lap, that's only 0.3 a second faster, which means if he wants to potentially fight, he might have to do a bit more. As Stelios here is the closest to anyone. He is currently behind the two-time champion. As bold to assume everyone is below the 50% battery mark. So obviously everyone trigger happy with their ERS buttons. As Redfire Tiger will begin the midpoint lap of the race, as he is still on those hard compound tyres. The only one yet to pit. However, I don't think he's got anything in his head apart from how to keep this 18-second lap gap stick. So first to last is 29 seconds. However, I do believe that will shift down to 11 seconds once in a few laps time when Red finally makes his pit stop. Obviously the four-time champion didn't have the best of luck last week. A few disconnects here and there really hampered his performance, as twice this week and last week he has led the race. Fastest lap wise, well, no surprises. As you know, if you're looking from this perspective, you'd think Red is miles away, but I believe the gap pit lane's like 21 seconds. I'm not sure how long the pit lane is here. However, you know, the question is, when will the man in Mercedes pit? Probably one of the most loyal drivers in the league's history, stuck with the same team for as long as I've been here, so you know, probably not that long even. As we can probably compare these two sectors. So last lap, Jaden's first sector is the 31.9, so he's actually quicker in the first sector than, you know, we'll just have to see. I mean, in 10 laps time, we'll see who will be at the checkered flag first. And the main question is, will it be a Mercedes, will it be a McLaren, or will it once again be a Williams? Or could we even see one of the other drivers pop up and get like a last ditch? Could we see a Red Bull? Could we see a Racing Bull? Only time will tell. As the gap's gone down very steady, gone down a second in the last few laps. As I'll check for warnings again, because Red nothing, Jaden 1, JJ 2, Stelios 1, Uri 2, Logan 1, and that is it. So no one has a track limit penalty yet, however we have a speed limit penalty. So unless there's another round of pit stops or a late race safety car, that 10-second will not get served, and it will probably mean that Mr. Stelios will fall as a... Oh, Red's in, so, you know, that's interesting. So let's just quickly check that. So 19 to 28, so he will fall down to last place here with his 10-second penalty. Really unfortunate for a guy who's been having an amazing race. Red bolts the medium tyre to foresee the second half of the race. Now the question is here, who will be in the lead by the Lacombe chicane? Will it be the Williams? Will it be McLaren? Will it be Mercedes? Who will be the lead here as locking up into turn 1 to prevent the overtake, as they're free? Will Jaden takes the lead, and Red from that pit stop falls down to third, and still a 2-second barrier, as the top 3 separated by just under half a second, or just over even, as James blasts in the battery and just flies past the McLaren here. As Red, can he do anything here? And oh, that was rash, as Jaden cuts the chicane after a very early break. As quite unfortunate there. That was looking like an interesting battle, and then all went down. So Red now with the tyre advantage, let's say the least. Free lap old hards against fresh mediums. This could only go one way, and it's in the favour of the Mercedes, who has led a decent majority of the second quarter of this Belgian Grand Prix here, as that is the closest gap we've got, as we may even see a fight down into the bus stop chicane here. Red with the fastest middle sector obviously won't be able to get the fastest lap this lap after having at least 20 seconds hampered from his pit stop. As similar in top speed, none to none, so they're trying to both harvest as much for the treacherous 2 kilometre straight up ahead. As James sets the fastest lap, 45.1. As I do not believe there'll be an overtake anywhere else apart from the front here. As they're both burning battery, the gap is around 10%. Red lifts off the battery, tries to make as much of a battery delta here. Lets James burn up the hill, and now the question is, will DRS plus superior battery be able to help Red here to reclaim the lead after losing it under the round of pit stops? 350 kilometers an hour compared to 330. The overspeed is mental. He goes to the outside, he can't get far enough around, and he tries to switch back, but he can't get the car alongside. Is you know, the battery change is still there, but I don't think there'll be an overtake for a decent couple of seconds, or attempt at least. As Jaden, after taking the lead briefly, has dropped to nearly 3 seconds from the fight for the lead. Now he might actually get overtaken off the podium, which will obviously get reinstated after all proceedings are done because of Stelios' 10-second time penalty. So we focus back onto this fight where 87% versus 71. I doubt either of these two gentlemen will be pressing the battery into the bus stop chicane, as well, they're both just over 300 kilometers an hour, and DRS chicken potentially there from Red Fire Tiger to not have DRS. To have DRS even. There's a 100% battery versus 80. Will this be the lap that Red reclaims the lead proper? As he's got a full battery. They're both burning down into the Kemmel Straight as the gap is 2/10 just under the hill. The gap is 30% battery wise. Now, can the overspeed do its magic again? Can Red Fire Tiger for real now reclaim the lead? He's got 3 lap pressure tyres, a softer compound of tyres as he goes around the outside and reclaims the lead, as very close and personal between the Mercedes and the Williams, as Red, with battery to spare, overtakes to lead. And now it is his job to get the ball and run. As yeah, that's probably the last we're going to see of that battle for the lead for a decent while at least. As we can now focus on this fight for P4 between Danny and Stelios. Currently the gap between championship leader and second is 81. After this race, if it ends like this, it will go up to 89. However, I will check one thing, because there might be one thing for certain here. The gap between second and third in the title fight is 151 to 144. 7 points divide Jaden and Danny. Danny in second, Jaden in third. As it stands, Danny is going to make an overtake for the sake of overtaking, because as it stands, he will still get the position. Red sets the fastest lap, nearly just over a second quicker than the previous lap time that set fastest. As it stands, the gap 10 to 5th, 4th to 3rd is going to be 3 points, which means Jaden's gap is going to go from 7 points down to 4 in the terms of the fight for second in the title. Any other moves happening in the championship? With this result, Logan will jump to 2 points behind Frankie for 5th place in the standings. He will have 85 compared to 87 for the Aston Martin, who has retired from this race. And Red Fire Tiger, with his 25-point gain, will jump from 58 to 83. Don't quote me. 58, 83. Yeah, 83 points, which will propel him above last week podium sitter Chris. As someone's had a bit of a dip in the gravel as I was looking at standings, so we might see a fight. Oh, here we go. 3-car DRS train. Barely DRS train, I may say, as well, here we go. Danny's got the overspeed. Will he try and send it into Blancheron, which is a really weird place to send a move, I reckon. As well, he goes for it down the inside of the bus stop chicane. Both cars locking up. This allows for Uri to get into the action, who hasn't raced for 4 months. Is back, and he's currently in the fight for 5th place, as Danny's traction helps him claim P4 for certain now. As the field, actually, for once, not that far separated, only 20 seconds. If I was racing, the gap from 8th to 9th would have probably been 20 seconds. As will Stelios, similar battery, but will the DRS prove faithful here, as the Kick Sauber burns battery to try and overtake? If Danny moves to the left, bit of wheel barge there, but Stelios reclaims 4th place, which he will lose from the 10-second penalty, as the 3 fighters here closing up to the McLaren, who is having an awful second half of the race, was in the lead and now has dropped to just over 7 seconds away from the pack. Red just driving his race, I see. Has pulled off the overtake and just kept it constant, I guess. not obviously he's got the tyre advantage, but the question is, as we go to the end of the race, like lap 21, lap 22, will the more durable hard tyres help out more than the worn out mediums? Here we go. Three-way fight again. 4th, 5th and 6th separated by just over half a second, as Danny's traction helps him nearly pull alongside the Sauber, as once again there will not be a move into whatever the source, I think it's called. As now we pull onto the back straight, Eau Rouge to Radion. Now the Camel straight here, DRS plus battery both burning. The Red Bull machinery, the Sauber machinery, the Red Bull pulls alongside and flies by, overtaking before the corner, and that is another overtake for 4th place, as you can see a slight bit of grain on the Sauber's front left. Just kicked up a bit of grass on that tyre as well, as will Danny be able to chase after Jaden here to potentially stop the decline and cause an increase in the championship gap? 5 lap fresher tyres, and let's just compare a few lap times. So last lap Danny set out a 1:47.2 to Jaden's 46.5. Okay, so he lost a bit of time, but he's now gaining out in the fresh air outside of the wave of the Sauber. As speaking of the Sauber, he's got a bit of a wiggle out the final corner, so now that will allow for Uri to potentially, on his return, climb up into 5th place without having to rely on the 10-second penalty, which may or may not be removed depending on circumstances of getting it. But I think speeding penalties are pretty touch and go, you know. It happens, unless there's a bug, you don't get it removed, I don't think. As with the 10-second time penalty, the King at P7 will get promoted to P6. So 2 extra points in his claim for potential top 5 in the championship, which would be a new high for the Alpine after winning the Tier 2 title 2 years ago now, as obviously an Xbox driver, now converted to PC, now proves he can fight with the big guns here in Tier 1, and his top 5 with 2 podiums to assist really does prove that. As soon we'll begin lap 20, which means 3 laps to go before the end of the race, and to be fair, James has caught up to Red here by a few tenths a lap. The gap is slowly ticking down, but I don't think it's too small or too big of an indifference to give the Mercedes driver a boost of hope after a bit of a torrid time recently, suffering a lot on track and from internet issues. As Danny has caught up to Jaden here, and you know, it's like burning nothing again, trying to propel himself away from the Red Bull. As they say, Red Bull does give you wings. In this context, it really does, as the RB of Uri claims P5 and is in to the podium fight here on his return, as well, you know, it's not out of the realm possibility. 3rd, 4th or 5th could clinch that final podium spot, which you never know, it may be ever so crucial into getting a bounce back of form. Uh, yeah. The 15 lap old tyres definitely proving costly here. Maybe the strategy didn't work out for him here. Obviously the other soft runner of Frankie retired early on, so maybe the softs weren't the go here for third in the title race, as it's not even really a title race. It's 81 points and then but here we are. Four cars separated by just over 1.5 seconds. DRS Danny goes wide in the bus stop chicane, so that will hinder his performance. He wheel locks with the RB, trying all his best to not let him overtake, and that has cost him DRS to the car ahead. This could be costly for the fight for second place in the title. Nearly lost my words here, but here we are again. As here we go, they're back all in DRS. Will we see any overtakes? I doubt it with a gap that big, but you know, it can always happen, as the gap at the front on the penultimate lap here has dropped to 1 second. Red struggling here. Could Red have a puncture? He's really struggling. So does he have a... what happened there? We might need to focus on here, because on the penultimate lap, Red's ever certain drive is now fading. He was 3 seconds ahead at one point, and now he's got the Williams on his tail. The Williams, who could potentially extend his championship lead to a further from 80. Well, currently it's 87 points. That... I need to do quick maths here. My maths isn't mathing. Second to that's 6 points, so 81 will be 87. A gap of 13 points will be 94 points in the title race here, which might dead set. Red, I think Red has a puncture, you know. Unless I'm being thick. We start the final lap of the race here in Spa with a potential fight for not only first, but also third. But here we go, we're down into turn one. We don't know which one to focus on, so I'm going to go off the relative, as it's 100% versus 90% battery. Red's tyres screaming out for help, as the alternate strategy, it may have worked for a decent chunk of the race, but now it may be fading. As, here it is, here we go, this is it. Around his left, and James storms past the aching Red Bull, as I think that's pretty dead set. As here we go, the fight for the final podium place. Danny storming up to the back of the McLaren here, and he overtakes down into the Lake Com chicane. So now, after 17 laps on the hard compound tyre, FX7 Danny is up into P3, so the gap is up to well, the title gap is up into 91 points, but it's down from a possible 94. Everyone, a few drivers have the blinking fuel light on. However, I can't be certain whether or not. I couldn't tell you, but from a good start to the race, Red, few mistakes on the penultimate lap here, and the win has slipped literally out of his hands here at Spa-Francorchamps, adjacent to home, he might say. But for James here, it's absolute delight. He thought at one point he may not win this, but at this point he is definitely crowned the winner of the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got a fight here for P5 here. Uri and Jaden here. Uri got the outside to the inside. Bit of argy-bargy. This will be a fight for P4 as Uri on his return goes up to P4. Very good finish. Jaden P5. That last ditch 18 laps probably didn't work that well, as Stelios gets into 6th. Logan, king of P7, retains the crown, and Adam down in P8. As quite an interesting race towards the end. yeah, there's the race result, I guess. Highest climber, Danny from 7th all the way to the podium. So that means the title gap goes from 81 points. Well, it does jump up to 91. However, he avoided it being 94 or even worse, 96, which would have ever proven this Williams is insane. Anyway, that has been me for your comms. That was the Belgian Grand Prix, obviously held at the prestigious Leamington Spa. Don't know what other spa you'd think it'd be, as